Good afternoon, LinkedIn. My name is Dominic. I run Stream. We are the UK's first iPhone-only multi-camera live stream and video production company. Just last week, I was given access as part of just a small handful of testers in the UK to the brand new LinkedIn Live function. And over the course of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, managed to put out a couple of videos, really just testing the system, seeing how it worked from my side. And today, always with the intention that today I would get into the slightly more serious stuff. Since I told everybody that I was going to be doing these things live, I have been away and I've pulled together a brilliant list of guests, each of whom is going to join me one at a time on each of my shows this week. We have an awful lot to talk about. There is an awful lot of topics to be covered. My guest today is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this. But I think one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this, and one of the reasons that anyone who saw any of my videos last week will see that I was so excited about what was going on, is because not only is this an amazing opportunity for me to talk about my business and what we do, because we are, as one of my clients described me, a disruptor in the tech field, especially when it comes to event video production. But perhaps more importantly, we have an amazing opportunity through this platform that LinkedIn's given us access to talk to other people, hear their message, hear their story, and spread their word. And so kicking off today, we have a wonderful lady by the name of Fran Boorman. Fran Boorman is a TEDx speaker. She is a best-selling author. She is a serial entrepreneur. She has built and then sold a business with a £9 million turnover. She started her newest business in September 2018, so just a matter of months ago. And here to talk about that business, as I said just now, is Fran. So it gives me absolute pleasure, if I can just get her on my screen here, to introduce her right now. Hello, Fran.
Hi, Dom. Nice to be here.
It's very nice to have you here. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Enjoying the sunshine today.
I know, it's beautiful, right? It's
really beautiful.
It's moved on completely from where we were a couple of weeks ago. I'm wearing shorts and t-shirt in the office, and actually quite comfortable for a change, which is really nice. Fran, before we get into any of the talk, please tell us who you are, tell us a little bit about you, where you've come from, what you've done, and then we'll talk about what we're actually here to speak about.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Dominic. Well, you've already given me such a lovely introduction, so thank you so much. So yes, I'm holding the role at the moment as the CEO and co-founder of an organisation called Goal 17. And I think we're going to talk about that in a bit anyway, but effectively we've developed the UK's #1 sports-led mentoring programme. And we like to do things a little bit different. So as well as going into corporate clients and showing them how to do world-class mentoring, we also use our business to help engage with homeless young people and work with Premier League football clubs. So it's quite an interesting mix of corporate training, football, and homeless young people.
Wow. I mean, if you're going to introduce yourself, there's quite a bit to talk about just in its own right there, right?
Yeah, well, might as well get stuck into it, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So, as every good interviewer should, we had a chat in advance of this, and there's loads of stuff to talk about. We've got Goal 17, particularly. We've got Street Soccer Foundation, and everything that you're doing, everything that you've achieved so far with both of those just seems to be off the scale. I think it would be very easy from an outsider's perspective to say, wow, for a business that is X amount of years old, the achievements that you've had so far would be pretty impressive. But in actual fact, you've only been going since September last year.
That's right. I mean, we like to move fast. What can I say? So, yeah, we only launched Goal 17 back in September. In fact, I only met Keith Mabbutt, my business partner, back in July last year. So it's all been a very quick turnaround. But we came up with a concept that evidently is incredibly powerful and has the ability to make a vast difference to many people's lives. So really, the only way to get that out to the world is to do it quickly. And in that time, so sort of 7-8 months, We've built some really key fundamental partnerships with academic institutes, with policymakers, with football clubs. We've won lots of national awards, which has been a complete honour and privilege. And really got our business running and are now in the process of rolling out nationwide and delivering this programme that has a big impact for our corporate clients as much as it does for the young people that we try and support as well.
So, but at its heart, Goal 17 aims to tackle the problem of youth homelessness, correct?
That is correct, yes. So would you like me to explain the model to you as we discussed before, Dom? Because I think that might be quite helpful.
For the people that are already watching and the people that tune in later on to watch, I think that would be hugely helpful.
So what Goal 17 do is we deliver this mentor training program. So if you look, any business people watching this now will know we're in a really interesting place in our economy at the moment, and we're seeing massive amounts of change, partly driven by technology. I mean, the fact that we're here on one of the first ever Facebook Lives in the UK is amazing. Not Facebook, even LinkedIn Live is just amazing.
LinkedIn.
We get in trouble there with LinkedIn Live. And so technology is moving fast, but also that's impacting the way people feel and think about things, and especially when it comes to their workplace. So if you look at the transitions we're having in the workplace at the moment, they're vast. We've got a mass amount of baby boomers that are going to be leaving the workplace over the next few years. We've also got this massive influx of millennials, and what people want from work is very, very different. And what a lot of the big companies have realised is that to be able to sustain in the future, the most important asset they're going to have is their people, and looking after their people and making sure their people want to come to work every day is going to be one of the most important things that they can do. And we looked at that and went, well, this is an area where we could help. And so what we've done with our mentor training program is look at actually one of the best ways to help engage and retain staff is to create an internal mentoring culture where people feel that they're part of something and everybody's looking out for each other and supporting each other. 72% of millennials say they want a mentor in the workplace, and very, very few are getting that. And that's why we're seeing quite a high attrition rate of millennials, because they're not getting what they want, they're not feeling the same level of value and so on. So very simply, by developing this mentoring culture, we can help keep people in their jobs, help keep them performing even better for their companies. So we went and developed some theory around this, and we worked with Oxford Brookes University, who are the world leaders in the International Centre of Coaching and Mentoring, so they are the world leaders in that field, and developed a very simple, quick and effective course. But I don't believe in just doing things by theory, because theory is great, but really people don't learn through theory. So what they need is practical experience. And therefore, we partnered with the amazing Street Soccer Foundation. And what Street Soccer do is they also do a sort of mentoring, but they do it for homeless 16 to 24-year-olds. And they put them through this amazing 10-week programme, which is a combination of football training and mindset training to help these young people get their lives back on track. But what those young people needed was good quality mentors. So effectively, we brought those two things together. And now our mentors that come on our training program get real life hands-on experience. I like to call it extreme mentoring, because we pair each one of our corporate mentors with one of those homeless young people, and they learn to put their skills into practice. So by the time they finish the course, not only do they know the theory, but they're actually effectively mentoring within their organisation because they've learned how to do it properly.
It's really interesting because you talk about the fact that it's a client. Is this specific sectors that are working with you on this, or is it a fairly broad range?
So it's a fairly broad range that because obviously every company could do with some sort of mentoring culture. However, we have noticed, for example, construction companies are very well aligned to us, partly because they can also use the social value that they're creating through engaging in our projects to help them win bids when they go out to tender for projects, because that's quite important now. In fact, in any organisation that's trying to do any kind of bidding of big project, it's expected to be able to see that social value. And we can obviously give them a vehicle that helps them genuinely create that social value. The construction sector is quite big for us, and also a nice thing about that kind of working environment is we find that the young people that we develop through the programme build a relationship with that company and are more likely to be able to go on and actually get a job with that country and continue to give back to the company that mentored them through the programme.
Yeah. You provided a video, which I'm going to play into the stream. Is now a good time to do that, do you think?
Yeah, go for it. Let's show people what it looks like.
It seems to set the you've just set the context quite well. Do you want to say anything about this video before I play it?
So this is a video of one of our corporate clients. They were a construction firm that came through our 10-week mentoring program, and it gives you an idea of what it's like, the impact that it makes both on the young people, but just as importantly on those corporate clients themselves.
Right, then let's do this. Let's fire straight in, and I will play this now, and we will be back. It's only a few minutes. If you're watching, if you've got any questions for Fran, please drop them in the comments below. I am now able to monitor them, so I can see the comments coming through. I can see also that we've got some people watching. Just stick with us for a few minutes because we've got more with Fran right after this video.
I feel nervous and excited. It's a huge responsibility thinking that you're actually going to have an impact on somebody's young life.
What's going to be fantastic and what I can't wait for is to see them at the end of their 10-week programme and see how much they've actually progressed.
Hopefully I want to make an effect to someone's life, make them better themselves, and I hope I'm up to the job.
Goal 17 has been one of Conway's best projects I think that we've got involved with. It's a very special opportunity for anyone because it's very easy, if you like, to pledge a financial commitment, but being allowed to actually spend the time with these young people has been what's made it for me, because the rewards coming back are just the best. I feel wonderful about what I've been able to do with these young people in these 10 weeks.
We have goals, aspirations we need to achieve, and we look at our dreams and through the workplace with what we do. So it's a great level, really. That's what I've found about the whole experience.
It's made me a lot more reliable and a lot more keep to time schedule. It's definitely opened up my eyes to a lot of what's going on around.
I feel more positive about myself, got future goals, yeah.
It's nice to know you're working for a company that wants to help people, help young people out there, and realising that you have got something to give.
To see what these young people have been able to achieve in the last 10 weeks has just made me smile inside and out. It's been an absolute incredible experience for me and very humbling.
I think it's helped change my outlook on life in general. Before I came to the street soccer course, maybe I was a bit bad, you know what I mean? But since I've came, I've understood that I have to change if I want to make something of my life. I can't just keep doing what I've been doing.
I've definitely become more confident because when I meet new people, I'm just like really shy. I will not talk to them like full stop. But yeah, I've spoke to everyone, including you.
It's been incredibly emotional and very rewarding. So I felt like I've probably got just as much from this experience as Jacob, my mentee, has as well. And seeing his progress has just been incredible for me.
And I just hope that in 10 weeks we can look back together, whoever I've mentored, whoever we build a partnership with, to be able to look back together and just say, look how far we've come, because I know I'm going to get just as much from it as what they are, because I've already learned so much about myself.
I think there was a little gap in there. Apologies, everybody. I watched that video for the first time earlier on when Fran sent it through to me, and I think it's really hard not to get a little bit choked up by what they're doing, what they're achieving there. And you're part of that. Does it still affect you now?
Every time I was just watching it, you and I can't hear the sound on it, and I can still get shivers down my spine. And I think this is the thing, right? Because fundamentally in our day jobs, we all want to do the best that we can, but when we have the opportunity to feel empowered, like we can actually make a difference to other people's lives, it is just the most wonderful thing. And of course, we get choked up. But the best bit about this is we give other people the opportunity to come and be part of that, and then take that back into the workplace, so that every day they can help people in the workplace progress their own futures forward. And the more as a humanity we can get together and support each other in doing that, that's got to be what it's all about, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the constant themes that run through each aspect of this are just so inspiring, and I love the fact that you're using sport to drive this. I guess the question that I would ask, and I posed it to you briefly earlier, but why football?
Really great question. Well, football is one of the amazing things about football. You probably saw last week with everything that happened with Champions League and Premier League. It has this ability to just bring people together and unite people. Sport on its own is always incredibly inspiring, because it forces us to break down boundaries, push ourselves to the limits, and do things that maybe we didn't think possible before we started. But football specifically, you can take the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the country and a homeless young person, and they may look at each other and go, we've got nothing in common. But you get them having a bit of banter about football, and all of a sudden, all those barriers between them are broken down. And that's why it's an incredibly powerful vehicle, especially when we're talking about mentoring and so on. But we also use the sport of football to work with the young people, because they may not be in the place where they consider it particularly want to sit in a room and talk about mindset and work, whereas they love to come and play football. So it engages them in that level, and it gives us the opportunity to take those lessons from the pitch, make them feel like a team, and then bring those into the classroom to help them look at a different perspective at their life and in which direction they're going. And then exactly the same with the mentors. So that's why football is so incredibly powerful for us. And also the partnerships that we're now doing with Premier League Football Club has enabled us to actually spread and effectively spread our influence nationwide. And we're now scaling with Premier League clubs all over the country, so that we can actually now start delivering this programme, not just down here in the southeast, but nationwide as well. So again, a great infrastructure to help us deliver this impact to more and more people.
You've just given me a great segue into what was going to be my next question, which is, where do the Premier League clubs fit into this? Because I've seen photos. If you want to find Fran on any social media channels, find her at Goal 17. I'll put some information on the screen in just a minute. But Fran, where do the Premier League clubs fit into this? How are you working with them? What's the plan to work with more of them? Are you working more with some than others? There's lots of questions there. Let's go back to the core question.
Sure. So the core question with the Premier League is the Premier League. Often people look at football clubs and think, they're these big clubs, they just kind of take all the money or whatever. But actually, all the Premier League football clubs have a charitable trust or foundation attached to them. And those foundations and trusts do the most phenomenal work within their local communities. Now, obviously, we've developed something through, or Keith specifically through the Street Soccer Scheme, has developed a programme that's incredibly effective at working with these young people. So we have spoken to many of the Premier League clubs, and they are going to help by delivering our programme in their local area. So, for example, we're just about to launch at the end of this month with Liverpool, and Liverpool staff will be delivering to the young people our programme. So that's a really exciting development, because it means we can now impact those young lives with the clubs all dotted around the country. But they also give us the opportunity then again with our corporate clients to bring them into that environment as part of the delivery that we do. When we bring those young people and those corporate clients together, we do that in the arena of a Premier League football club stadium. And again, if you want to talk about breaking down barriers and inspiring people, these stadiums are incredibly inspiring. So when you get those two groups of people together in that environment, again, it's a really inspiring environment for people. So that's where it's great. In terms of, are we working with different ones? We originally piloted this with West Ham. They've been absolutely brilliant supporting the foundation since 2015 and continue to support and deliver with us. But we are now spreading our wings a bit further. So as I mentioned, on the 30th of this month, 30th of May, we're actually launching at Liverpool, which we're immensely excited about because it will be 48 hours before they appear in the Champions League final. And we've been given access to Anfield Stadium to invite business leaders from across the UK to come to Anfield to celebrate, hopefully, their win 48 hours later. You don't have to be a Liverpool supporter to come, of course. But most importantly, celebrate this new partnership and how together business and community and football clubs all coming together to actually help make a difference, both internally to those companies, externally in their local communities.
When you go to a club like West Ham or to Liverpool, does the whole team get involved?
Do you mean the actual playing team? So we do get support from different players. We have several different sporting football ambassadors that support what we do through the Street Soccer Foundation. But our key supporters, when you look at a football club, I think it was fascinating if you saw the Premier League yesterday and when City won and they were doing the awards, how many different people were there that form part of the success of those clubs. So it's not usually just about that squad of players. And one of the great things, we have the most amazing privilege of working with some of the teams at these clubs that deliver all sorts of amazing projects. So we work very closely with their foundations, and the people that work in those foundations are incredibly inspiring, who are, again, using this amazing vehicle of football to impact social change. So it's a real privilege to work with them.
It's amazing. I think one of the questions that it poses is, obviously, you've only been going since September last year. Are you able to measure the success that this is having yet, or is that something that's probably not going to come till maybe you've done a whole year of this?
Oh, it's a great question, Dominic. Well, I'm a big fan of data, and I think it's really important. We are trying to use business to create social change, but that means that we have to be doing right by the business, and for that we need data. Yeah. So back quite early in the first few months of our formation, we did a really interesting partnership with an organisation called the ESRC, who are the Economic Social Research Centre. They linked us up with some different universities, predominantly Essex University, who provided us with a researcher who has helped create an amazing piece of data capture software effectively. And what that software is going to enable us to do is not just measure our social value, but also measure the return on investment that we're achieving for our corporate clients. So from some preliminary studies that we did with them, we're already measuring that for every £1 invested in our programme, it's generating around about £8 of social value. But we're also going to be able to look at metrics such as, once a member of staff has come through the Goal 17 Impact Programme, when they come out the other side of that, how much more engaged and retained are they, or how much more likely are they to retain in that company? And therefore, based on that company's recruitment costs, what is the genuine return on investment on just that stream of that person being a part of our programme? So as we go forward, we're going to have some really exciting data and metrics to really measure that impact, and then obviously keep improving on it. We're very ambitious and want to make sure that we always strive to be world class and deliver the best possible service.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess data is great, but it's probably only ever as good as the outcomes or what you then do with it. By proving, so that model, that whole the numbers that you just put on it, for every £1 invested, you get £8 back out in social values. What will that mean to you as an organisation in terms of your developing relationships with premier clubs or your corporate clients?
So I think in terms of I think all of this is all about evidence. So anyone that's involved in our programme instantly knows, I mean, the second they're involved in it, the second we bring those two groups of people together, you can't help but just know that there's going to be this huge transformation for everyone involved, not just the young people, but the corporate clients as well. But what that data gives us is the ability to actually put that evidence around it and prove it in cold, hard facts and figures, which will hopefully really, in terms of how that progresses our business, that gives us the opportunity to open more doors with corporate clients, more doors with more Premier League clubs. Effectively, we're in a very fortunate position where we have the access to the Premier League clubs that we want at the moment. So we're not, as we go, we'll scale more through the Premier League and the EFL. But going forward, again, it will also give us the opportunity maybe in the future to look at expanding into other territories, other countries, and using that data really just to prove that. And our ambitions go beyond just what we're doing. My whole belief and what drives me personally is I really want to shift the opinion, both publicly and within business, that business for good is good for business. And I really want to prove to anybody out there that's interested that if you use your business to create positive social change, it's not just that tick in the box and I feel good about myself now, but actually it means that you are creating a more profitable and sustainable business for yourself. So beyond Goal 17, I hope others will look at what we're doing with Goal 17, look at it as the trailblazing example, follow us on that, and want to then actually be part of that and be part of that going forward within their own organisations, perhaps within their own guises.
And that would be great for business. It would be great for employees. And actually, there's probably a correlation here. I was reading just last week about the awards were just placed for best places to work in the country, and there's going to be a link. There has to be a link between what you're doing and actually ultimately what you see in the results of the perceived best places to work in the country.
And again, we talk about the shifts in generations in the workplace. I think it was the Deloitte Millennial Study a few years ago did some really interesting research into what people want from their workplace. And specifically, when you look at the younger generations, it was in excess of 80% are not just there for a pay packet. They're there because they want to feel part of something greater, feel like they're contributing, feel like they're part of society. This is very much what I did my TED talk about. And if what we're doing is providing those companies with a vehicle so they don't have to go and invent their own, because it took Keith and the Street Soccer Foundation years to develop this program, the Street Soccer Academy, that genuinely works. But it didn't just happen overnight. They didn't just wake up and go, oh, let's go help some homeless kids. It didn't work like that. It was years of developing it. Yeah. And for the companies that want to engage their staff in something that's meaningful and genuinely worked, we're empowering them to do that in a way that is convenient for them. Because let's be honest, they're a business. They haven't got loads of time. They still need to run their business. So this empowers them to do that. So it's kind of bringing together everybody to make that difference.
There's just a few things. I mean, I'm conscious that we're at 27 minutes on this already. And I said earlier that I think probably 20 minutes to half an hour is going to be good. However, we've still got people here. We've still got loads to talk about. So I'm just going to keep going as long as you're okay for time.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to do them in the order that you've said them, because scalability is obviously important in any business. And I think there's probably three angles that you could approach scalability in your business. The first is, number one, you need more corporate clients. Number two, you need more Premier clubs. And then I guess the extension to the Premier clubs is, are there other sports that you're interested in working with that you think would have the same impact?
Okay, so number one, corporate clients, 100%, and we are effectively, we only launched 7-8 months ago, so we've been piloting with a few key clients. We are now officially open for business, taking on new clients across the UK, and that's being scaled. We've obviously got a partnership with West Ham, we've got Liverpool, and we'll be opening up a Premier League club in the Midlands in the near future. So we are proactively now looking for the next corporate clients that want to help pioneer with us in new areas. So it's a really exciting time for a corporate that wants to come on board with a Goal 17 impact programme. They could get to be the first one through with Liverpool FC, for example. So really, really exciting time to get them on board. In terms of the football clubs, we've got such great relationships now with so many of the clubs, which we're very, very honoured to have, because we have a huge amount of respect for them. And as we grow, no doubt we will open up more of those clubs. But let's not forget, there's 92 football clubs in the UK amongst the EFL and the Premier League. So there are so many clubs in all sorts of different communities that we can build relationships and work with. And we will be doing that over the coming years. And then not just the UK, but we've got all of Europe potentially we could go to. And I'm pretty sure this is going to go down pretty well in America. So again, that's in the future. But as you quite rightly point out, Dominic, there could be an opportunity in the future for other sports, rugby, cricket, all sorts of other sports that this could engage and use that power of sport to create social change. But we're very, very conscious at the moment what we've got works. and it's making a huge difference. So our focus, we've got this laser vision focus of absolutely maxing out now on helping these young people using that football and helping our corporate clients get the most from that experience. So that's where our attention is definitely going to be for the foreseeable future.
To be honest, you're not even a year in, so you've got plenty of time. Okay, again, I'll pick up another subject that you picked up on that you mentioned just now, which is your TED Talk. In actual fact, well, I've got two. I've got TED Talks and street soccer, because I don't think we probably need to cover street soccer, which isn't an area that I know too much about. But the Street Soccer Foundation, did you co-found that?
No, so Keith Mabbutt is the founder of Street Soccer. He still holds the role of CEO, and he is my business partner in Goal 17. So he founded that. Wonderful story. Keith was a footballer himself. He played for Charlton, Gillingham and Millwall, had a really promising start to his football career, and then unfortunately got injured. And potentially could have been one of those people that would have fell by the wayside and maybe fallen into a more disadvantaged lifestyle effectively, but luckily he had a really good close-knit community of friends and family around him. So he then went on and had his own successes within business and got to the point where he had exited a business and was looking for a new challenge and heard about homelessness. So he then decided to get his football boots out again and find a way to use the sport to help some of the people that he was hearing about that were homeless. And that was how the Street Soccer Foundation developed and grew incredibly well. And taking from his experience of having that community around him, he realised that many of these young people didn't have that. And one of the things that Street Soccer is amazing at doing is making these young people feel like they belong and like they're part of something again. And that's one thing that our corporate mentors do incredibly well, is make them feel like somebody cares about them. And that's partly why it's so successful and why it's built up so well. So that was founded back in 2015 by Keith. It's been running very successfully, but Keith and I came together last summer because Keith wanted to work with me to help scale that. And he often jokes and says how brutal, calls me brutal Fran often, how head on with him about asking the really difficult questions about how does this scale? How do you take yourself away from this so it can continue even when you're not around, and so on. And we had some very frank conversations, and I think that's why we work very well together, because we can say what we think to each other, sometimes maybe too much more than we should, but we have a very open relationship about how we work and how we talk to each other. And because of that, then it became evident that there was a real need and desire on Keith's part and my part to help scale the Street Soccer Foundation. Yeah. And that was where Goal 17 was born. So we started looking at where we could access money, where we could make impact in the corporate world, which would then add value back to the street soccer. And hence Goal 17 was born, and the two organisations are now very, very closely aligned and working together with each other.
And hugely complementary to each other, as clearly are you and Keith. So
yeah, yes.
Well, complimentary, and you know what I mean by complimentary. If he's calling you brutal Fran, that's not always a compliment.
I smile because we're business partners, so we have many moments when it gets heated, as anyone that's had a business partner before will know. But yeah, fundamentally, and I think what this comes down to, and maybe people that are watching this from their own, wanting to learn for their own business, one of the most valuable thing I think you can do when choosing people to work with is choose people with the same values. And Keith and I have very, very, very aligned values. So it makes our decision making easier, and it makes working together easier, because fundamentally we have a passion for business, but more than anything, we have a passion for helping make social change, and bringing our two different vehicles together. It's very able to do that.
And that comes screaming across that passion comes screaming across in every little bit of social media footage I see of you or Keith, actually, whether it's a tweet, something on Facebook. I've looked through it all in the last 24 hours. And it just comes bounding out that there is so much passion behind what you're doing. And you've been able to make a success of it in the process of doing something that ultimately you both love, which is incredible. And don't we all want to do that?
Yeah, and I guess that's what we want to kind of share with our corporate clients, is that passion, because it's very difficult when you're sitting at a desk and you've got some mundane work that needs to be done. And let's all be honest, we've all got stuff that we've got to do, and it's very difficult to sometimes keep that enthusiasm and that drive going. But when you get in a room with a young person and you see that you have an ability to transform their lives, and more importantly, you then take that back into the workplace and you start having the ability to transform the lives of the people around you, you find this deep inner motivation. And really what we're doing with Goal 17 and Street Soccer is allowing other people to feed off that, not just from Keith and ourselves, but from the process, and learn how you can bring that into your daily working life, and how you can then have that impact every day, so that you get this kind of insatiable energy because you just love what you're doing, even if what you're doing sometimes is really dull.
And we all have it, as you said, we all have those days where it is really dull. But I guess, you know, the combination of all of this, and it's something that you haven't yet mentioned, which I'm gonna touch on now. The combination of all of this is effectively what led you to winning an award so soon after starting. Fran hasn't mentioned, so I will. 5 months after starting Goal 17, they won at the National Mentoring Awards, which I can only imagine you're up against some monsters in that world. They won let me get the wording right. Fran, let me get the wording right.
So we now have the UK's #1 sports-led mentoring program for corporate clients. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we were honoured to even be considered, to be fair, and went along to it. And you know, there are awards and there are awards, right? There are the awards that you pay a load of money to get into, you know, and it's only those that are putting in a couple of thousand that end up going to the dinner or whatever. But the National Mentoring Awards, which is run by an amazing lady called Chelsea Baker, who is committed to seeing mentoring in companies just like we are, committed to seeing mentoring making a difference in the corporate world as well as in the social world around us. She runs those awards, and we were absolutely blown away. But we went along, we were up against some massive multinational corporates with massive budgets. And there's little Goal 17, just so proud to be in the room, perhaps maybe drinking almost a little bit too much wine because we were just impressed we were even there. And we got announced as the winners. So it was a real honour, and a testament that goes beyond being Keith, because that wouldn't have been possible without the amazing team that we've got supporting us. And importantly, our corporate clients that are all part of making that happen, and making sure that the work that we're doing has an impact and makes a difference both to those young people and to corporate clients.
And then, of course, more recently, and I saw this happen live on Twitter one Sunday night, and I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And actually, I entered the same week that you did, and my tweet got ignored. Theo Paphitis, the former dragon in Dragon's Den, runs on Twitter every Sunday night. I think it's between 7 and 8 p.m. a hashtag Small Business Sunday, SBS Sunday. Hashtag SBS. And it's an opportunity for small businesses to kind of put in their elevator pitch. And then he picks a few people. Now, it just so happened that he had a Small Business Sunday Awards evening, and he was looking for a final couple. And sure enough, I put my entry in, because why wouldn't I? I'm a new business too, and I've got just as good a chance as any. But Fran put hers in, and what happened, Fran?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit of it. I won't go into the story too much there, but we were actually up in Manchester. We just had meetings all day with some of the football clubs up there. And one of our graduates of the Street Soccer Academy from down south, when he came through the academy as a homeless young person, he said he wanted to work in the hospitality industry, and he just got his dream job up in Manchester in a hotel. So we'd gone to the hotel in Manchester to see him that evening. So we had a busy day of meetings. We booked into the hotel, and we were just taking him out for dinner. And sitting there, and my phone starts going crazy, and it turns out that Theo Paphitis had selected us as his winners. So we're sitting there in Manchester going, oh, it's a crazy day of meetings. We've got Michael with us. We're celebrating the fact that he's just completely turned his life around. He's now got his own home. He's engaged. We're like, oh, this is amazing. And next thing we know, we're getting phone calls from Theo's office saying, could you get to Birmingham tomorrow and come and meet the man himself who wants to give you an award? We were like, oh my goodness, it can be more crazy. So quickly rearranged our journey back down to London the next morning via Birmingham, scooted over to Birmingham and got to meet Theo himself. And yeah, another great honour and a real privilege, you know, to be recognised by somebody that's known so well in the UK for his business, and dare I say he's known a little bit for football, but he probably doesn't want to talk about that too much these days.
I think it's an amazing achievement, and like I said, I was almost watching that happen, and I think I was as excited, maybe not quite as excited as you were, but I watched it live, as did lots of other people, happen, and just saw that journey over the 24 hours of you racing to get there. So
it was
amazing. It actually annoys me because no, I can imagine. I'm really annoyed because there's a really good photo of you with Theo, and I'm guessing that's Keith in the photo as well.
Yeah,
which you can find if you go to @Goal17 on Twitter or find Goal17 on Facebook.
At Goal17 Global. So all one word, Goal17 Global.
I don't have that on the screen. However, I do, and I have been putting up every now and again a little bit about how to get more information about Street Soccer Foundation, and also the primary point of conversation, Goal17. It's on the screen now. Go to www.goal17.global. Fran, there are so many more things I could talk about. Very briefly, I want to ask you about your TED Talk. What did you cover? Where did you do it? And are you going to do another one?
Oh, great question. So I talked about it talks about how technology has changed us and how it's changed the way that we what people want effectively, and how really now there's this burning desire, because we all get to see the brutal realities of the world in the kind of most crazy detail on our phones, how that's empowered us to actually want to make a difference and give back. So that's what it was about. You can find it online. I did it up in Telford. Again, it was amazing. It was my theme, so it was the perfect venue for me to do that. And will I do another one? I would love to do another one, but I want to do the other one with probably more with the Goal17 story, when we got a little bit more further down the line and can share how we're using social value and business impact together to make a real difference.
Can you remember off the top of your head what the actual title of that is that people could look up?
Well, if you go onto YouTube and you type Fran Boorman TED Talk, it comes up.
There you go.
So that's the easiest way to find it.
I'll be doing that straight away because I haven't watched that one yet. I'm going to cover this just because I think we should, and because you are impacting it. And I should have raised this while we were talking just now. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week.
Yes.
What you're doing isn't just having an effect on people's lives necessarily. It must be having and will be having a positive effect on mental health.
100%, because let's be honest, there's all sorts of research into mental health issues, but fundamentally, if you don't have a purpose or you don't have something that you're passionate about that drives you, it's very easy to kind of spiral then into mental health challenges. And also sometimes when you feel alone, that again can be a real challenge. And what we're doing with Goal17 and Street Soccer, obviously with Street Soccer, we work very closely with the young people on their mental health. But from a Goal17 perspective, the corporate clients that come through our business all of a sudden not only have an amazingly uplifting experience, but they have some tools in their toolbox they can use to not only protect themselves, but to understand and protect others around them. So as part of our training that we do with our corporates, we do a whole module on mental health to help them understand, but also just to make them feel like they can make a difference. Because fundamentally, if we all woke up every morning and felt like we could make a difference in this kind of crazy world that we live in, then I'm sure we would have much better mental health around us and much better abilities to deal with mental health challenges. So that's really a big part of our mission. So rock on Mental Health Awareness Week, and let's get more people talking about it, but more than just talking about it, let's get people taking action and learning how to mentor and support each other and not be afraid of it, and also to have purpose so they find a reason not to necessarily suffer because they feel alone.
Absolutely right. And I was going to try and add something on to the end of that, and actually I just don't need to. Fran, we have taken up way more of your time than I intended to, but it's been fascinating. If no one had watched this, I would have been quite happy to have this chat with you by myself.
Oh, you're very sweet.
And I would happily carry on doing so. But it's now, what is it, 2:45. I haven't seen any questions popping up, but if you watch this back, if you've got a question, drop it into the comments, because Fran and I will be keeping an eye on those over the next few days. I'm going to put it up on the screen one more time. If you want more information about the work that Fran is doing with Goal 17, go to www.goal17.global. There is a contact page on there if you want to get in touch, whether you're a business, in any aspect. If you've got any questions at all, get in touch with Fran through goal17.global. Fran, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I hope that if I am able to carry on doing this, that maybe you'll come back and give us an update in a few months' time.
Oh, definitely. And can I say thank you to you, Dominic? Amazing. You're such a lovely person. And also real credit to you, because my understanding is there are just about 4 people in the UK that have been selected to pilot this LinkedIn Live. And that says a huge amount about you. You're a reasonably new business as well, I know. So for you to be selected as one of those special people, this man knows what he's doing. And anyone that's watching this, if you're not connected with Dominic already, I really would, because he's going places as well. So connect with him and follow his amazing journey, because I'm sure we're going to see some exciting stuff as well.
Well, you're very, very kind. Thank you very much. Fran, have a great rest of afternoon. I'm just going to wrap up with the show, but have a great rest of afternoon. And I will
you too,
I'll
Dominic.
you very soon. Thank
See
you.
you soon.
Wow. How am I going to follow that over the course of the rest of the week? Of course, I have to, because there is so much still coming over the course of the week. But everything that Fran is doing with Goal 17, whether you like football or not, whether you are into sport or not, everything that Fran is doing with Goal 17 is unbelievably inspirational. There is so much content on their LinkedIn page, on their Facebook page, on their Twitter feed. Go and look it up. It's at Goal 17 Global. That's all one word. I haven't got it to put on the screen, which is really annoying me. At Goal 17 Global. As I said just then, I would quite happily talk to her for the rest of the afternoon, but we do need to move on. I love this. I love the fact that I can just sit in my studio at the office and do this. It's just fantastic. Coming up on the rest of the week, we have a number of guests. I'm not going to tell you about all of them. I'm just going to tell you about tomorrow's, and I'm hoping that I was organized enough to add the image to my image bank. Yes, I was. Let me just find that for you here. And tomorrow we have, oh, I'm sorry. I've been thrown by the depth of the conversation that we've just had with Fran. Tomorrow we have the wonderful Pauline Kwasniak joining us on the show. She is from Turn C. She is an advocate for women in technology. She is a chief executive. She is a global events professional. And tomorrow afternoon, we are going to be talking, or she is going to be doing a lot of the talking, I hope, about the benefits of building an online network, the benefits to your business of joining an online network. She's going to be with me just as Fran was today from 2 o'clock. She will also be joining me via video chat, and we will talk until we can't talk anymore, just like we have done today. Thank you very, very much. We still have a number of people watching. The numbers have been going up and up and up the longer we've stayed live. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the very first in what will be a series now of LinkedIn Live Dailies. I have guests booked in for all of this week. I have some guests now booked in for next week. And I have proposed the idea of going into a third week also. I will only do that if I can find an amazing collection of guests to bring on that have something to talk about, something to say that benefits everybody in some way, shape or form. You know, what I do is go out and I tell other people's stories. I'm a live streaming and video production professional. That's my business. That's what I do. And ultimately, that's how I've ended up in this amazing position where I can sit in my studio as one of the only people in the UK talking on LinkedIn Live. I do everything with iPhones. Everything you have seen today has been filmed on an iPhone. And this is my kit. This is what I do. This is what I'm good at. We are mobile. We are portable. We are completely affordable. And if you want to talk about live streaming, if you want to talk about video production in general, whether it's to chat generally, whether it's to book me for a job, or whether it's just to talk about a couple of ideas, then you would be most welcome to do so. Let me just see if I have got my, I probably wasn't organized enough to get this on the screen. Oh, maybe. Let's see what happens with that. Dominic@stream.com. You can get in touch with me via that. Dominic@stream, streem.com. It has been my pleasure to have you joining us today. We've had an amazing audience, which has been fantastic. We will be back tomorrow afternoon with the wonderful, as I said, Pauline Kwasniak, talking about the benefits of building an online network, the benefits to your business of building an online network. And I very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you very much.